to know what government housing really looks like in Ontario? Well, today we're going to discuss RGI, which stands for Rent Geared to Income, how it works, what it looks like, and some of the pitfalls to avoid when doing the application process. Now, a lot of times RGI is called either social housing, community housing, subsidized housing, depending on which municipality is running the program, but it's essentially the same program. It's a form of rent geared to income, and it's the most common form of government housing all throughout Ontario, and it's the most affordable type of housing for people who are low income because it's meant for people who are low income. Now, a little bit disclaimer, this video is not meant to create any legal or financial advice. Anything that I have discussed will be linked in the description, and they are a part of government official websites and public information. Chapter 1, Definition. RGI assistance means the amount of rent you pay is determined by your income. Rent amounts are based on paying approximately 30% of your gross before taxes monthly household income. For example, if your household members make $1,500 a month combined, your basic subsidy rent might be $500 with adjustments for utilities. As you can see by the definition, RGI is meant for families and individuals who are low income. Each municipality defines what it means to be low income and what the income cutoff is for their program. So you have to check in which place that you are either living in or want to be in, what their income cutoff is for the RGI program. And a lot of places, the income cutoff varies depending on like how many people are in your family or how many bedrooms that you need for the unit. So if you need a 5-bedroom unit, the income cutoff might be higher than if you need like a 1-bedroom unit. But generally what they do is they don't charge you more than 30% of your income because it's meant to be affordable housing. It's meant to be subsidized. So the government subsidizes your rent so that it keeps it within a manageable rate. Now, a lot of these subsidized housing units and neighborhoods are run by co-ops or not-for-profit, and they have a specific relationship with the municipality in order to keep your rent at 30% because it's not a profit-making industry. It's meant to be partly funded or managed or whatnot through the municipality, so they will keep it at a lower rate rather than the market rent in your area. Chapter 2, Eligibility. You may be eligible for RGI if you are able to live independently with or without support services. You are over 16 years old. You are a Canadian citizen, a permanent resident of Canada, or a refugee claimant, or you are applying to become a permanent resident. You are not under a removal order to leave Canada. You do not owe money to any social housing provider in Ontario, or you have an agreement to repay this money. RGI is not managed by just like one government office. It depends on the municipality, whether or not it's managed through a separate housing corporation or whether it's managed through the housing department of that municipality or whether it's managed by a different department within the municipality. It really depends on the municipality itself, and you have to apply through RGI through the municipality. And so because they're the ones that manage the wait list and make sure you're have the eligibility to be on the wait list and to be given housing. And so you have to find out from your local government who manages and which department manages the wait list. Each municipality has different communities where they have these RGI units, whether it is a group of townhouses, it could be apartment buildings, it could be standalone houses. It really varies. It just depends on the municipality and the type of units that they have available. Now, I will say for majority of Ontario, the number of like accessible units within the greater subsidized housing or RGI framework is very small. Like I would say probably in like one of their larger subdivisions, they might have like 80 units, but only 5 or less will be accessible housing. So having an accessible unit is that much harder for people who need RGI units and RGI type of program. And in these applications, like they don't just like tell you, oh, this came up or that came up. In most applications, you choose which neighborhoods you want to live in and what type of units you want to move into, because it varies. Like again, like they'll have not-for-profits, they'll have co-ops and whatnot. And so in that application, you have to say, I want to live in these neighborhoods or that neighborhood. And a lot of places will, like, as soon as a unit becomes available in the unit that you put in the application, they'll let you know. And if you, after you do the application, decide to turn down that unit, then in some municipalities, they will throw out your application completely because they have only one refusal rate. So you really have to decide which neighborhoods you want to live in. And these wait lists, depending on like where you are in Ontario, can be years and even decades. Like places like Toronto or Ottawa and Hamilton, like larger cities within the province, you generally have to wait for somebody to either move or pass away in order to get a unit. And so you do have to keep in mind that this is a quite long process, and you may have to come up with like a backup system. Chapter 3, Special Priority. Special priority status provides priority access to social and affordable housing vacancies for victims of domestic violence or human trafficking. To apply for special priority status, please complete the appropriate section on your application, making sure to note the required documents needed. In most municipalities, the priority is generally for people who are fleeing violence in the household. Some municipalities may have other priority status for applications, so it's best to check. But one of the things that I've seen in my research is a common denominator is that they will always have a priority status for people who are fleeing violence. Now, the standard to prove that you're fleeing violence or you're currently in an environment that threatens your safety may depend municipality to municipality, so it's best to check based on where you live or where you're hoping to move to what their standard of proving that you are fleeing violence looks like. Many people assume that there's like other priorities for these applications, including medical condition, family size, or whatnot. And again, you're not like completely wrong. It just depends on the municipality. Some of them have several things that they look for priority status, and some people just are municipalities that look at only violence and violence alone. So you have to check and not assume what status of priority your municipality looks at. If you like this video and enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm hoping to get to around 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so your support really will matter and help grow my channel.